Canelo Alvarez finally agrees to fight against Terence Crawford, but only on one condition. Canelo is finally coming round to the idea and seems willing his fight against Crawford to happen, but only if the money is right. Canelo stated, "Crawford is a great fighter, obviously, 3 divisions below. As I've said before, I've fought bigger guys in my category, smaller guys, older guys, younger guys. At the end of the day, I was born to fight, and I'll fight anyone, obviously on terms that suit me best. At this point in my career, I'll always make the best fights, but they have to benefit me. It depends on the money, but why not?" The chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, Turki Al-Sheikh, previously revealed that he is looking at making the super fight in either December or January over in the United States. He stated, "I'm working to deliver Canelo, but it will be a big fight for Crawford. I'll discuss the names with him." Crawford was present during the Canelo-Munguia fight. After the event, he was asked what he thought about the fight. Crawford shared his insights, but when asked if this match can lead to him facing Canelo, he simply said, "Most definitely."
It's Kevin with Fight Hype, Bub. What you thought about that fight?
It was a good fight. Munguia showed his heart, determination. He just wasn't stepping in. Canelo kind of looked like he carried him, though.
What do you think about that fight in terms of you fighting Canelo? Did you see opportunities for yourself?
Most definitely.
What kind?
A lot. You had to see the fight, but Canelo did good. Munguia did good. It was a good fight.
All right, Terence, man, you're the best.
Yo, appreciate you, bud.
You gonna record me too?
Terence Crawford is surely the best pound-to-pound boxer in the world right now. As he enters the prime of his career, Bud has made it clear that he has to fight against Canelo Alvarez and possibly get the biggest money fight he can seek out. Crawford has recently moved up to 154 and is ready to face WBA title holder Israil Madrimov on August 3rd in Los Angeles, which is also set by Turki Al-Sheikh. The move to 154 by Crawford might be a sign for him to make it to 168 and finally face Canelo. With the potential fight being very possible now, many pros have shared their insights on what they believe would happen if the boxing titans face each other. A former opponent of Crawford, Errol Spence Jr., shared his thoughts about the bout. He said, "If Terence wants to be great, let him be." He said he doesn't have any idea who's going to win the fight, but he would definitely choose Crawford.
I mean, it could happen. I mean, why not? If Crawford want to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great, you know, so, you know what I'm saying, I'm with it. So, you know, I'll be going for Bud, you know, if he fight Canelo.
You got Crawford over Bud? I mean, you got Crawford over Canelo? Sorry.
I'll be going for him. I'll be going for him. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna win or lose, but I definitely be going Crawford. I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off.
Yeah. You know,
he's chasing greatness.
Eddie Hearns reveals why Canelo doesn't want to fight against Terence Crawford. He said Canelo thinks that he's not going to get any credit if he defeats Crawford because of the size difference. Eddie personally believes that Canelo will outsize Terence Crawford.
Not speaking on Canelo's behalf because I don't represent him, I don't think he's overly interested in the Terence Crawford fight because I think he'll be thinking, I'm not going to get any credit for beating Terence Crawford. He's a 147 pounder who's just moved to 154. You're asking him to move up to 168 and fight a guy that's going to massively outsize him. And also,
Crawford's training partner and 3-weight world champion, Shakur Stevenson, thinks that his fellow Terence Crawford has the power to hurt Canelo and will get his hand raised if the two do meet in the ring. He said that he's been with him for a long time. He believes Terence has a better IQ than Canelo and can hurt Canelo. "I stand on that Crawford beats Canelo. I stand on that. I'm just speaking off from what I've seen with Bud. I'm in the gym with him. I get to watch him all the time. There have been times where I've been around him every day. I've been in training camps with Bud. I've seen him hurt heavyweights. I've seen him hit heavyweights, and they go on shaky legs. I just don't agree with the logic that Bud can't hurt Canelo, or he hasn't got enough to keep Canelo off of it. I think Bud is the better boxer IQ-wise. I think he's strong, and I think he can beat Canelo Alvarez. That's just my opinion, and until someone can show me otherwise, then I believe what I believe." Commentator Tim Bradley believes Terence Crawford will be victorious against undisputed super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez. Bradley thinks Crawford can outbox Canelo just like Floyd Mayweather Jr. did 11 years ago when he defeated the Mexican Star when he was 22 years old, fighting at a catchweight in 2013. After hearing that Canelo is not really interested in this fight, Bradley mentioned Jermell Charlos, who came in at 154 and survived against Canelo. He stated, "This is the problem with the fact that he fought against Jermell Charlo. Charlo comes in at 154. Jermell moved up a couple of weight divisions to fight Canelo. He got in there and laid an egg. He just basically went in there and survived. I'm not on Canelo's level, but the difference is the mentality of Crawford. He's a top pound-for-pound guy. Bradley believes that Crawford will survive against Canelo. He's the best pound-to-pound boxer in the world right now." He said, "Charlo was never a top pound-for-pound guy. The skill set of Crawford is what he brings," said said Bradley. He's a competitor, and he's been after Canelo. He wants to fight Canelo, and I think he'll do well against Canelo. I really do. Carlos Adams, who sparred with Terence Crawford, believes that Terence shouldn't be fighting Canelo right now. He thinks that Canelo punches really hard, and it will be dangerous for Terence's boxing career.
Pienso que sí, ya que subí 3 divisiones bastante libre, demasiada yo diría. Pienso que no es algo que él lo necesita ahora mismo. Crawford en su carrera ha demostrado que es un buen peleador, pero pienso que no tiene que estar corriendo esos grandes riesgos, porque no solamente pone su carrera en riesgo, también pone su vida, porque un golpe de Canelo le puede hacer daño de por vida.
I don't think Crawford needs the Canelo fight right now. I think it's kind of needless for Crawford because his reputation is well cemented, and a punch by Canelo could not only be dangerous for him to lose the fight, but it could be dangerous for his life. So no need for Crawford to cross the line into such a heavy weight class.
Gracias, campeón.
Thank you.
Jose Benavidez thinks that Terence Crawford is a great undefeated pound-to-pound boxer, as Terence recently defeated him. He believes that Terence can beat Canelo. He said that anything can happen in boxing. It's up to you how you use your mind.
You know, I feel like anybody's beatable. You know, Crawford's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. He's a smart fighter. He's undefeated, right? He's beat the best of the best. So, I mean, I feel like he'll beat him. I mean, if everyone puts their mind to it and they train how they're supposed to train, which I know he is, I mean, anything's possible because Crawford is, I mean, Canelo's not bigger than him. I mean, weight-wise he is, but height-wise they're about the same height. So, I mean, boxing, anything's possible. Just how you choose your mind.
The sparring partner Kyrone Davis, who has shared the ring with both fighters, think that size will play a major role in this fight. He believes that Terence is a great fighter with skills, but the opponent he will be facing has skill and size both. He said that it's a big advantage for Canelo, as he is bigger than Crawford, and it'll be too hard for Crawford to gain victory against Canelo. He stated, "I've been in the ring with both. I got Crawford ready for when he fought Sean Porter. I was with him for a few weeks. What do I think of that fight? Everybody knows that Crawford has the skills, but I do think that Canelo is a little bit too big for Crawford, and it'll be a tall task for him to win. It'll take a lot to get the victory based on size alone. Not that size wins fights, but you've got a guy that has size and skills. It'll be hard. Nothing's impossible. But if I had to put my money on somebody winning the fight, it would be Canelo Alvarez, even though Terence Crawford is a great fighter. They're both great fighters. You've got two great fighters in there, but one guy has the advantage due to his makeup, his body type, how big a person he is, and I think that will be the deciding factor in that fight." Davis believes Crawford would find it hard to cause real damage to Canelo, who is known for his granite chin even at light heavyweight. He stated, "Absolutely, he would have to fight the perfect fight. Size will play a factor in that fight. It'll be a lot harder to damage Canelo, and Canelo's punches will be way more effective than Crawford's punches if they fight at 168, so it'll be an issue. It's not impossible, but it will be hard." Jim Lapley believes that there is nothing that Terence can't do. He said, "We can't tell Crawford what he can or what he should do." He thinks that Terence is able to do anything, and he's the most stubborn guy he's ever seen.
I would never tell Terence Crawford he can't do anything. There's no, if Terence Crawford told me, "I'm going to become a light heavyweight, and I'm going to fight David Benavidez," I would say, Terence knows better than I do what he can do. I mean, does it make any sense? No, it doesn't make any logical sense. So, at the end of the day, we can speculate all we want about what he can do or what he should do, but nobody's going to decide this other than Terence Crawford. He is willful, he is stubborn, he is self-possessed, he is possessed of enormous self-belief. He is as confident as any person I've ever met. If I tell Terence Crawford, "You can't drive your Ferrari from this intersection to the next one," he's going to get into the Ferrari and prove to me that I'm wrong. So I look forward to seeing whether Terence can prove everybody wrong about what he can or should do. And I also look forward to finding out whether Canelo Alvarez wants that fight.
Alexander Usyk is confident about his friend Terence Crawford. He thinks that Terence will win against Canelo. He said Terence is smart and different. He stated, "I like Terence. He is my friend, but he is a crazy man. I say Terence wins. Listen, Terence is a different man. He fights out of two sides, stances, right and left, southpaw and orthodox. He is a very smart man and feels the distance and space." Furthermore, Usyk was asked about the factors that weight difference can play in the fight's outcome. He replied, "Canelo is big, yeah, and he is a good boxer, but I say Terence can box like a big guy." Professional boxer Amir Khan gives advice to Terence Crawford that he shouldn't take this fight against Canelo Alvarez. He believes both fighters are brilliant in their own way, but he said he fought both of them, and Canelo brutally knocked him out when he was at the peak of his career. He thinks that Canelo is too strong for Crawford. He stated, "Terence Crawford is a technician. He makes you miss and counters well, but you have to understand, when I fought Terence Crawford, I was past my best, whereas when I was fighting against Canelo, I was at the peak of my career. I was doing really well then. I was probably winning the fight against Canelo, but obviously that one big punch that he has, he caught me with it and put me away. I don't think Crawford should take that fight because he doesn't need it." Jeff Mayweather also believes that the weight would play a significant role if the fight ever happened.
Well, I mean,
2 weight classes and what's the name being I mean, I think he can still have some problems with Crawford, but still that weight is something to deal with. And you can't just say that because of Crawford's skills, he can automatically go up to 168 pounds and be the guy that's been doing this for a long time and also been one of the best fighters in the world for a long time. So that's a big jump.
Bernard Hopkins voiced his concerns for Terence Crawford, questioning his decision. He emphasized Crawford's well-being and benefit, asking what good the fight with Canelo could bring.
Crawford cares about his life, and with that fight, what do that fight do for Canelo? Fighting Crawford and Crawford beats Canelo. What do that do for Canelo? I just think that there are so many other fights to make that's realistic and makes sense and less life-risking.
Bernard further added, I have serious reservations about Crawford's decision to pursue this fight with Canelo. It's a risky move, and I question the wisdom behind it. As someone who's been in the ring and understands the physical toll it takes, I worry about Crawford's well-being in a matchup against someone like Canelo. What benefit does this fight hold for Crawford? There are plenty of other viable matchups available that don't carry the same level of risk. However, Teddy Atlas thinks that Bud has a special ability of seeing things in slow motion during the fight. Because of this, he cannot count him out. Teddy stated, Crawford has the ability to slow things down in the ring and to see things nobody else can see, and that's what makes his timing so special. Because of that, I cannot count him out of anything. Boxing coach Virgil Hunter thinks that the ambiguity of this fight is what makes it interesting. He says that both of the fighters can win this fight, which makes it intriguing for many boxing fans. He stated, it definitely would go down as an intriguing fight, and it would pique the interest of the fans. You got a lot of people thinking that Terence can win that fight, and a lot of people that think that Canelo can win. So I think that creates a lot of interest in that fight. If we had to go on the basics in history, you say the bigger guy, Canelo, wins. But in Terence, we're talking about an exceptional fighter. So you can't count him out. Amir Khan has fought both the fighters and thinks the difference between the two fighters is that Canelo is easier to hit, whereas when it comes to Crawford, things get difficult.
I fought them both. Like, what are the differences between them?
Canelo's stronger and he's easily hit. Very easily hit, very easily. Compared to when I fought against Crawford, I couldn't even hit clean.
Yeah.
So really, that's the difference. And they both hit hard.
Crawford versus Canelo is definitely up there, but there's another guy who many want to see face Canelo. David Benavidez has been calling out Canelo for a long time now. He looks to be the most credible fighter in Canelo's division, and yet the two haven't fought yet. After Canelo beat Munguia this past weekend, many want to see this fight happen next, but Canelo has put forward his demand of a whopping $200 million to face Benavidez.
If David was a little bit more respectful, instead of like talking trash, would that help a little bit in making a fight? Instead of like saying like buy something.
200 million.
200 million still? It's still 200 million?
However, David Benavidez is tired of the excuses and wants Canelo to tell people that he simply doesn't want to fight him.
I think he's getting put into a corner now where he's running out of excuses. He said that the only thing I bring is 25 extra pounds and I'm not worth nothing, but he's asking 200 million and now he's gonna fight me in the same night. Like, this shit's just stupid, bro. Like, just tell the people you don't want to fight me.
Do you think his hunger is dissipating? You know?
I don't know. I can't talk to you about what his hunger is or how his training is or how he feels. I can only speak to you about myself, but for me, it looks like fear. It looks like fear, like he's scared of me.
David noted that everyone desires to fight Canelo due to the financial rewards it offers, even suggesting that fighters like Naoya Inoue might consider moving up to face him. He believes that Crawford has the abilities to face Canelo, but also thinks that size would play a huge factor if the fight ever happens. David said, as for Crawford, he's undeniably skilled, but he needs to be realistic about his chances against significantly larger opponents. Just look at the Charlo versus Canelo fight. Size matters in boxing, and Crawford would face similar challenges against bigger foes. David also added that Canelo doesn't want to fight him and chooses opponents who are easier to beat. He thinks that Canelo is afraid of him and knows that it won't be an easy payday for him if he fights him.
To be honest with you, bro, whatever Canelo does, that's on him. I mean, I feel like if he was the baddest, he's saying I'm talking so much, why don't he come shut me up? That's really, if you prove that you're the best and you are the best, what does it cost you getting a $65 million check and showing somebody up that you're better than him? You know what I mean? If he doesn't want to fight me, he doesn't want to shut me up, it's for a reason. I mean, he knows what's up. You know what I mean? And I am the best. You know, all the other guys he's fought is weak. They all have no power. That's why he doesn't want to fight me. I'm the bigger guy. I throw more shots. And I've been here for a long, long time.
Stephen A. Smith doesn't like the idea of Canelo facing Crawford next because he believes the size difference would be too much for Crawford to handle. Instead, he wants Canelo to face Benavidez because Stephen thinks that Benavidez is the best in the 168 division. He stated, "I hate this matchup. I don't like it one bit. I think Crawford is the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet, and Canelo is also among them. But Canelo is fighting at 168, which means he's walking heavier. I want what all boxing fans want. We want the reigning defending super middleweight champion fighting against another super middleweight champion in David Benavidez. David doesn't deserve to be ignored. David Benavidez is worthy to have a money fight with Canelo because he has proven himself to be the best, and to think that Canelo won't fight him and choose someone who's 3 divisions below him in Crawford just doesn't seem right." Oscar De La Hoya believes that Benavidez would knock Canelo out if the fight ever happens. He thinks that Benavidez is young and has a high output of jabs, which could trouble Canelo.
Yeah, I think he knocks him out. Benavidez is a monster. He throws. Benavidez throws literally an average of above 50 to 55 punches a round. Canelo, Charlo, in the first round, they threw 1 punch combined. I'm not talking to you as, oh, I hate Canelo, oh, I hate Benavidez. No, I'm talking about a boxing expert. Those are the facts. That's reality on paper. Now, what happens in the ring and the bell rings, I don't know. If Canelo lands that 1 bomb that he always throws, the right hand, I mean, it's sayonara. It's game over for Benavidez. But I think Benavidez, because he's young, because he's strong, because he's very versatile and throws a lot of punches, it's going to create problems for Canelo.
Floyd Mayweather also thinks that Canelo should be tested against a fighter like Benavidez instead. He said, "If it were up to me, we'd want to see Benavidez face Canelo. It's time for Canelo to stop cherry-picking opponents and take on a real threat like Benavidez." Floyd thinks that Canelo should face David in order to cement his legacy even further. Benavidez is a hungry lion, and Canelo needs to step up to face him if he wants to prove he's truly the best. I respect Canelo's accomplishments, but dodging Benavidez only raises questions about his willingness to take on real challenges. Clarissa Shields believes that Terence Crawford is the only boxer who can defeat Canelo Alvarez right now.
David a different type of animal. But it's a fight I would love to see, and seeing this fight, I still think the only man that can beat Canelo is Terence Crawford. That's just what I think, and I want to see it.
Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo Alvarez had some heated moments during the buildup of the Canelo-Munguia fight. The two of them share some bad history together, and that might be the reason why Oscar picks Crawford when asked who he thinks would win the potential fight.
Give Crawford all the credit in the world for even thinking about possibly fighting Canelo, but if that fight ever takes place, I have Crawford 1,000%. And people are going to say, oh, well, you're contradicting yourself. I kind of am, but Crawford is also a big guy. Yeah. Crawford is a big guy who can handle a Canelo because they're the same size. Crawford is a guy who punches hard, but he doesn't rely on his power. He relies on his footwork. He relies on his speed, on his change-ups. He relies on his combinations. He relies on his mind. And I believe that Crawford is a way better boxer than Canelo.
Robert Garcia believes that Canelo wouldn't want to give Benavidez a shot because he has the power to do so. But he also said that he would love to see a fight between the two boxing titans, as it could be one of the biggest fights in boxing today.
I personally think that Benavidez is going to stay at 175 because I don't think him versus Canelo is going to happen. I think there's already been so much talk, so much saying back and forth to a point where Canelo is going to say, why? I just don't want to give it to him. You know, Canelo has that power. You know, he doesn't need the fight against Benavidez. To us, I would love to see the fight.
Garcia thinks that Benavidez has the tool to defeat Canelo, but you can never count out a legend like Canelo. He stated, Canelo is so talented that he could actually win this fight. I personally feel like Benavidez has the tools to beat Canelo, but I could be wrong. He also believes that Canelo is not afraid of fighting Benavidez, as he has faced them all. Canelo has fought everybody. I don't think he's afraid. I think he's too proud and just saying that I can do anything I want. I don't have to please everybody that's asking for this fight. He's like, I don't have to please Benavidez or his dad who have said things about Canelo that weren't too nice. I think he'll get a lot of respect for giving this fight to the boxing world, but he doesn't have to do it, so I don't blame him for that. Rayo Valenzuela thinks that if Canelo fights Crawford first, then the chances of him fighting Benavidez would become very slim. But he also believes that David should get a shot at Canelo because he deserves it.
For it to get made. You know, he keeps saying,
know, if the money's right. So I think the money will be right, you know, eventually. It depends which route Canelo goes, though. You know, it sounds like Terence Crawford, the Saudis want to make that fight happen. So if he fights Crawford, then I think it'll be less likely he'll fight Benavidez. But yeah, hopefully David gets it. You know, I think he deserves it. You know, he's been the best for the minute.
When asked who he thinks would have an upper hand during a potential fight between Canelo and Benavidez, Rayo says that there's no doubt that Canelo is an elite boxer. But right now, David is just too fast and hungry for him to handle. Rayo stated, David beats Canelo. He's too fast. He's too hungry. Canelo is a great fighter, though. I'd take off my hat for him. He's a great Mexican fighter who has done a lot. He'd definitely go down in the history books as one of the best to ever do it. But right now, when I watch Canelo live, I think David beats him. Mike Tyson is a big fan of Benavidez and thinks that Benavidez would win if a fight between him and Canelo ever happens. Tyson is so confident in Benavidez that he is sure that he would even beat Dimitri Bivol. Mike stated, Benavidez is my guy. I think he can beat anybody in the division. I love Canelo, but he's not going to beat him. He's a little past his prime. I think he could even beat the guy who beat Canelo, Dimitri Bivol. Jim Lampley remained genuinely in awe of Benavidez's boxing acumen. However, when he compared it with Canelo, he gave the legend status to the 61-2 record holder. Lampley stated, first of all, Davis Benavidez is cosmic, exciting, spectacular, etc. But you're talking about the evidence of one fight. Canelo Alvarez, you're talking about the evidence of 70 fights. Jim further added, I don't know enough about David Benavidez to say to you, oh, he's going to beat Canelo Alvarez. He's going to knock out a guy that nobody else has really been able to put on the canvas. Do I think David is a cosmic puncher? The biggest I've ever seen at that weight? I do believe that. Jim questioned people who think that Canelo is afraid of Benavidez. He thinks, why would Canelo not fight Benavidez if he had fought Gennady Golovkin twice? Do I believe that it's a fight I've to see? That has to happen? It needs to take place in the wake of this? I've never seen Canelo back down from a challenge. He fought Gennady Golovkin twice. Why would he be scared of David Benavidez? Alexander Gvozdyk was asked about Benavidez in the past and praised him as a very good fighter. He mentioned that when the two sparred, he got his ass kicked. He went on to say that if anyone could beat Canelo, it would be Benavidez.
What do you think of Benavidez?
The bigger one.
Yes.
David, very good.
You ever sparred him?
Yeah, he beat my ass, by the way. No, listen, I spar him. He's a very skilled fighter. He has the ability to absorb in punches very good. I think he would be a very good opponent for Canelo. He's the only guy who I think might beat Canelo.
David Benavidez even asked Saudi boxing kingpin Turki Al-Sheikh to make the big fight with Canelo happen. He appealed to him on social media and even offered to donate his entire earnings to a charity if he loses. This will be the biggest Mexican versus Mexican-American fight in the history of boxing, and what better place to do it than the kingdom, for the entire world to see. This fight is for pride and glory. I fight for greatness, not money. Your Excellency, if I do not beat Canelo, I will donate my entire purse to any kid's charity of your liking. When I do beat Canelo, I will be donating a huge amount of that purse to benefit children hunger across the world. I'm a champion of the people and will continue to fight the best. I stand by my words. However, despite this appeal, Turki Al-Sheikh had his own plans for Benavidez after his showdown with Gvozdyk. He wants the winner of the fight between Benavidez and Gvozdyk to go on to face Dimitri Bivol. Bivol is the current WBA and IBO light heavyweight champion, and he defeated Libyan fighter Malik Zinad earlier this month. Originally, it was meant to be an undisputed title match with Artur Beterbiev, but Artur got injured and his match with Bivol was postponed. Bivol has previously said that he is open to a fight with Benavidez. He has sparred with Benavidez a couple of times, and Bivol said that the sparring was good for both fighters. Now that Benavidez has moved up a weight, Bivol thinks a clash between the two is inevitable.
Yeah, we had a couple of sparrings. It was good sparrings for me, for him, I think, and maybe in the future, yeah, we could fight to each other because he can move up, yeah, and if he moves up, of course he will be my opponent.
David Benavidez also mentioned the sparring session with Bivol and said that he did well against him. He also put forward his wish to move up to the heavyweights in the near future.
But I spar with Bivol.
And you were younger.
I was 22. From seeing what I did to him in those sparring sessions, I'm very confident I'd win. But I'm not gonna, be a fool and just use confidence as 100% fuel. I'm gonna go in there and work extremely hard.
You're looking to go up to 175 pounds and potentially get the winner out of Beterbiev and Bivol.
That's why I want to be a part of these big fights too, because as you know, both you guys know, once you get a really good fighter in front of you, the training camp is different. The mentality is different. And when you get in that ring, you shine. That's what I want for myself. I want to be put in them hard positions where you have to use 100% of your skills. And that's why I feel like the best will come out of me. So I'm not scared of it. So whatever it is, even if light heavyweight isn't my final destination, I really want to go up to cruiserweight.
Ooh, so that's cruiserweight, just another, you're a weight class away from going to actual heavyweight.
Yeah. But you know, we're gonna move one step at a time. We got light heavyweight. That's a division I've been wanting to go to for a long, long time.
So what are your thoughts about this fight? Should Canelo face Crawford next, or is it time for him to give Benavidez his shot? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.